Hello and welcome to the AFL Riverina Football and Netball Show. I'm your host, Hannah Maguire. Now it's umpire round this week, so instead of speaking to your usual coach, captain or player, we're going to speak to some of the best umpires in our region. Now there's no one that knows football better than this bloke right here, Luke Olson. Welcome to the show, Luke.
Thanks for having me, Hannah.
Now you've got a special umpire development program going this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we run a program. We've got two main development programs. One of them is a school-based umpiring academy. So we go into local high schools, find prospective umpires, educate them, skill them up to be able to umpire football, and then we get them out in the local junior competitions where they umpire different grades. I suppose giving them a better education on the game. A lot of them are players as well, so they play and umpire at the same time. So it's just another avenue for kids to be involved in football.
Okay, and how important is it that you have, young people coming through the ranks, being umpires, and tell us a bit about the umpire shortage that we're facing at the moment?
Yeah, we'll obviously we've got a lot of games being played across the region. Across the state, there's nearly 4,000 appointments that need to be made. We've only got 1,200 umpires, so the gap between the appointments we need to make and the umpires that we have is great at the moment. We need a lot more umpires, and these programs really gives us that opportunity to not only appoint umpires to games, but also find umpires that then can progress to higher levels of football. Another program we run is a regional development squad, where we get the next level of umpires at a junior level, educate them even more intense training, more intense coaching, and get them ready for umpiring senior football.
Okay, what about AFL Riverina? How are we going with umpires there?
Not too bad. We always need more. There's still a lot of games that are umpired by club umpires. There's nearly 100 club umpires running around every weekend. So for us to get to the level where every game is being appointed by league umpires, we're only really halfway there. So we do need to find more people from the football community, as well as the programs that we run in schools and other community aspects that can be involved in umpiring, whether that be past players, whether that be parents that might want to be involved in football in a different aspect than just coaching or being administrators. So we need to really find some different avenues for people to be involved in umpiring. Yeah,
now there are perks to being an umpire though, aren't there?
Yeah, there are. You do get paid. Every league appointed umpire does get paid. That is a bit of a carrot for us to find new umpires. Most of the time people don't do it for the money, they do it for the love of the game and to be involved and to help out their club or whatever. So there are some rewards outside of just being out there umpiring. There's the fitness level as well, healthy lifestyle, but yeah, also a little bit of pocket money.
Okay, so if anyone wants to become an umpire or see what it's all about, what can they do?
We train Tuesdays and Thursday nights at Mar Oval. We start at 6 o'clock and we go until about 7:30. So we do all sorts of different coaching and fitness work there to educate people and skill them up so that they can go out and umpire. We also get accreditation programs in place, so umpires become accredited as they go. So there's a lot of support available for new umpires. There's also a green shirt program that umpires wear a green shirt when they're first year umpires, which signifies to the community or to the football community that there are new umpires, and to cut a little bit of slack and let them educate themselves in the game and give them a little bit of leeway when they're out there trying to umpire. So there's a lot of support networks in place that we have to ensure that when you do decide to become an umpire, you can do that in a rewarding and non-threatening environment.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for your time, Luke.
No worries.
We'll now chat to upcoming umpire Sam Weems. Now, Sam's been part of Luke's school development program, and he's also part of the NEFL development squad. So he umpires games in the NEFL, for instance, Giants reserves and games like that. Now, Sam joins us in the studio. Welcome to the show, Sam. Can you tell us a little bit about this umpiring you've got going on at the moment?
Well, thank you for having me here. Well, at the moment, I'm currently in the NEFL development squad, so I get to travel around the state umpiring state level football, as you said, the GWS reserve Giants, and also the Sydney Swans reserves, and it's really good football. It's the level just below the AFL, so if you want to get into the AFL, the way to get into it in umpiring is umpire the NEFL Grand Final, and that's how you get into it. And you have to go through trials through the NAB Cup.
Okay, so that's a goal this year, to umpire the NEFL Grand Final?
That would be the goal this year, but at the moment I'm just aiming for hopefully to get a final this year, as I only just started the NEFL this year, which is good.
Okay, now you are so young, 17 years of age. How does it feel to be out there umpiring such high-level football?
It's strange at times with players nearly 7 foot tall, and they're just towering over you, and the crowd yelling at you, yelling abuse, which you have to handle. But it's really good. It's a great experience, challenges both mentally and physically, and I wouldn't change it.
Okay, now what is it about umpiring that's drawn you to it? Why did you want to be an umpire?
Well, originally I started out in the school-based program that Luke ran in 2008, and I just joined up because, well, I wanted to learn the rules of the game, so when I yelled at the umpires on the TV, I knew what I was yelling at them about. But I joined up the next year at the RUA, and I really got into it. I love boundary umpiring, and then progressed from there.
Okay, how's umpiring in the NEFL competition, how's that helped your umpiring?
Well, in the NEFL competition, you get excellent coach feedback, you get match replay, so it's got all filmed, and they take out the sections of where you need to improve, what you did well, and they give you in-depth talking you through personally of what you did really well and what you did wrong and how to improve, and they really push you hard to get to the next level, and you're working with some of the best umpires in the state who are actually pushing into the AFL and who've tried out in the NAB Cups, and quite a few of them have actually made it to the AFL squad. Okay,
so your long-term goal is to be an AFL umpire?
Yes, it is. I'd love to be in Sydney or Melbourne one year and umpire the AFL. Be good. Do the Anzac Day game match.
Okay, well, good luck, Sam, and let's hope that dream comes true.
Thank you.
Now we're joined by another lovely bloke, Paul Hubble from AFL Riverina. Welcome to the show, Paul. But I don't know why I've let you in the studio with that scarf on.
Sincerely out of sympathy for Richmond on the weekend, Hannah. I won't say any more, but we look forward to Richmond having a good year.
You better not. It's umpire round this week, remember?
Totally understand that.
Now, we need to talk Farah League at the moment. We've got the match of the round, which is Temora versus Mara. Now, Temora bounced back after a shock loss against the Jets the week before. Do you think they've got what it takes to beat Mara this weekend?
Oh, look, they had a really good win last weekend against Coleambally, though, by over 100 points, so they certainly hit some form at the right time. Mara, on the other hand, played a really good brand of football against North Wagga last week, away from home. And, you know, Brad Turner was really good. He kicked 7 goals in a great marking display. The only thing I'd say about Mara is they certainly need to use the ball a little bit better. You know, they tend to, their vision's not that good in kicking, and they're kicking more to contests and into space where they could run the ball. Look, they've had one win, one loss, Mara, but I think Temora have hit their straps, and you know, Blackwell kicking 6 last week, back into a bit of form. Moy kicked 5, so they've got some goal kickers in their side. I think it'll be a close game at Mara. Mara will have to be on their best to beat Temora. I'm going to pick Mara at home in a close game, but don't be surprised if Temora win either.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the other matches. We've got CSU versus North Wagga. Who do you think will win this game?
Well, I think CSU's form is fairly poor at the moment. I mean, I watched North Wagga and they were very consistent last week. Even though they got beaten by 4 or 5 goals, they only lapsed for about 5 or 10 minutes in the game, which allowed Mara to kick some goals. I'm actually going to pick North Wagga to beat CSU, even though it's at home for CSU.
Okay. Now the Jets, they've improved out of sight this year. They'll make the long trip to Coleambally.
Yeah. I wouldn't say this will be easy for the Jets over there, even though they could win the game. Coleambally, they had a big loss last week, which didn't help them. I mean, Mitchie Carroll was their best player, who's a good recruit for the club. But they've got some depth, and they've got some good young players as well, Coleambally. I'd say the Jets with their experience and better players, but that might depend on the tribunal this week too. They could lose a couple of players. Depends on what happens tonight, obviously. But I'd say Jets just a bit too strong, but Coleambally at home always very hard to beat.
Okay, now the Rock, they're in good form earlier this season. Do you think they'll get over the Hawks?
I think so. I think their depth is really, really strong. I mean, they've lost Johnson, sadly, to an injury, shoulder injury. I don't know how long he'll be out for. East Wagga's improving each week. I mean, they were good in the last quarter last week where they kicked for about 4 goals 5. They nearly got over the line with the Jets, but they need to be consistent across the 4 quarters if they're going to do any good. And I think the Rock have just got too much depth and too much talent and experience as well, and a very well balanced side.
Okay, that's the Farrer League sorted. We'll get on to the RFL now. First game we'll talk about is Leeton and Mango. Who do you think in this one?
Oh, look, I think Leeton, they've got a couple of injuries still. They're at home, though. Mango weren't bad last week. They certainly didn't get beaten by a lot. First run for the season, basically, because they had a bye first round. Big reunion last weekend as well. But I'd suggest Leeton at home, but in a very... I think the game will be closer than most people think.
Okay, reigning premiers Narendra, they haven't been too crash hot this season just yet. They play Turvey Park.
I think Narendra at home will be too strong. Turvey really come back to earth with a thud last week, based on the fact that their win against Tigers was fantastic. But last week their form was just nowhere near as good as the week before. Narendra still have a few injury problems, but I think Rice is leading the side really well. Big ground, they know how to play it. I think they'll be fleet of foot. They've got some good young players as well, as have Turvey Park. So that's a good thing about the comp is there are a number of young players running around in the competition that are holding their own. But I'd suggest Narendra would be too strong for Turvey.
All right, Wagga Tigers, they really stepped it up in the Anzac Challenge against Gully. They beat them, which was quite a surprise to a lot of people. Do you think they had the goods to do it again against the Lions?
Oh, look, this will be a fantastic game. I think Tigers will go into the game with a lot of confidence. They've got some really good young players, Jimmy Carroll, Jeremiah Maslin. They really are good young fellows. But Ganmain, on the other hand, have got some experience through the midfield as well. I think the key matchups in Brad Graham and Jacob Olson, that'll be a highlight of the game. Brennan at full forward can kick goals. Jessop's a handy pickup for the Lions as well. The midfield battle will be fantastic. Matty Rava, Tom Power, Jackson Q's a very good player. Matty Rava certainly gone back to his old club and been in their best players in the last couple of games. But you've got Cole Hagan, Irvine, Mitch Steele, Curtis Steele. Mitch Steele's kicking some goals, which is good. I think this game's going to be a really close game. Home ground advantage, maybe the Tigers just, but I wouldn't underestimate Ganmain either. It'll be a great game.
And another great game is Coolman Colin Gully. Now that should be a cracking game.
Oh, this will be a good game. This is another match of the round, really. Coolman at home have played consistent football right through the first few weeks of the season. Colin Gully, on the other hand, have been a bit scratchy. The goal kicking, as I said before. But again, two clubs that have got very strong midfielders, good back lines that attack the footy pretty hard. They're good rebounding back lines. And I think this will be another close game. Colin Gully will have to be their best if they're going to do any good. But Coolman have got the score on the board so far, playing with a lot of confidence, and I'd suggest Coolman at home, but in another really good game of footy.
Now, that's unfortunately all we've got time for today. Thanks for your company, guys, and join us again on aflriverina.com.au next week for more. See you then.